Good evening, everyone. How
Good
you all
evening,
doing?
all.
Evening, Paul. How's things?
Yeah, I'm really good, mate. I'm really good. You?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. So I had put a poll up on the chat there before we started asking if Jay would be on time tonight, and 81% of people were right. He will not be on time tonight.
Yeah, I saw that. So this is what happens when you get 1,000 subs. You unlock other perks, do you? If that's a perk, because I haven't seen that before for us, any of us doing that.
No, so I was just playing about before it came on, and I noticed that we can now do polls. So if there's something that we think we want to know what people think, then I can put a poll in the chat and people can answer that. So that's really quite a good thing, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it turns out that most people know what Jay's like.
So I noticed, I think it was one person at the time had said he will be on time. So I did wonder if that was going to be Jay or it's Jay's mum, because I can't believe anyone else would think that Jay was going to be on time given his timekeeping in the last few weeks.
No, I don't think that. I mean, if he's anything under 5 minutes, I'll be impressed.
Yeah.
So I suppose we should cover formalities first. Apologies
Yes.
for the late notice of changeover tonight. We were meant to be on Steve's channel tonight, but unfortunately he's had to go and deal with emergency, so hopefully everything's all right at his end. But we're on here tonight instead, so fingers crossed everyone's okay at Steve's end and everything goes well. Here he is. Here's the man.
Speak of the devil, and he will appear slightly late.
Was that you that voted on the poll, Jay?
Yeah, I voted to arrive on time. Wow, what time is it?
We're already live, so you kind of know you've missed the boat. You've missed the countdown, haven't you?
I knew it was going to be late. I was washing up after the family Indian. I had to wash up first. I was running a little bit late, that's all. Sorry.
That's all right, mate. No problem.
The main reason was I was on the other channel. So Steve's channel is obviously...
right.
I was with the other 60 watchers on the other channel, waiting for it to start.
I did say the only person who would have said yes would have been you, or maybe you wrote your mum in to vote in yes. I couldn't believe any of our viewers would vote that you would be on time, because it's it's like betting on a three-legged horse, isn't it? Is all I can say.
It's a pretty sure bet that I was going to be late. Can you see the poll? Who says what? Because I actually voted that I would be late.
So there's 24 votes now, 79%, well, 25 votes, 80% for no and 20% for yes. It doesn't tell me who's voted though, which isn't great.
Yeah, well, it just shows the viewers know as well by now. That's what it shows us.
I can't believe it's 20%, Jay. I know that's only that's about 4 people.
My mum and my grandparents, I think. That's about it.
Or you've logged on to different YouTube accounts and so you can vote more than once.
Always late, always late.
I think that could be.
Evening, gents. Anyway, how are you? All right?
Yeah,
thanks, mate.
Really good.
Good. I'm really good, thank you. Hello to everybody in the chat as well. I can see there's quite a lot of people there already.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining. Good
familiar
to see the familiar faces back in the chat again. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and we've got Bravo 20's joined us again. He keeps forgetting every week, so he's remembered this week that it's on. It is difficult to remember a Friday night at 8 o'clock. It's not a usual time, that. So
there's nothing regular about it at all for the last.
No, not at all. I mean, it's not like we've done it for 26 weeks or whatever it is now.
Is it? When did we start? Was it? I have to look. Was it March time?
I think this is week 25 or 26, if I remember right. So yeah.
I was going to say how we found 25 weeks worth of good content of reefing, but we haven't, I don't think, have we? I
just about to say the key word there was content. Yes, good. Not too sure. We'll let the people decide on that one.
Yeah.
So we've probably had about 50 hours of live stream, and out of that, if we've had 49 hours of complete and utter garbage, maybe not garbage, banter, shall we say, and an hour of serious reefing, then we'll be good.
Yeah, we've had crabs, we've had beer kegs, we've had ironing boards. We've had KH keepers that don't work. We've had all kind of Wi-Fi being a bit dodgy in Mackie D's. All of that's got zero to do virtually with reefing other than crabs.
Yeah. I think we should have a end of year highlights, for New Year. All the highlights of the chat from the year. That'd be pretty cool.
So you're going to do the editing on that one, Jay, and go through all the videos.
Ross is quite good at editing.
I'm doing my hair that day. I can't do it.
You're doing your hair that day.
It would just be full of comments from Black Pearl Reef anyway.
You're a minority anyway. You're the one without any hair today. Like the rest of us have all got hair.
We'll sort that out just now,
the hair's on the other foot, isn't it? There we go.
that better for you?
Excellent. Yeah.
There
look at those eyebrows he's got at the top.
I know.
They join together in the middle, don't they?
You look incredibly attractive both way around. That's all I can say.
Thanks, mate. I like it.
I hope my wife's not watching.
Oh dear, slippery slope.
Yeah, 25. So this is episode 25.
Yeah, I think that is episode 25. Yeah, so.
What do you think Steve would have turned up for this one? You know, the 25th, the 50th, the 100th. You know,
makes an appearance.
Yeah, I probably should have made a big deal of it, but I didn't actually realise it was 25 till I was doing the thumbnail for it and thought, that's number 25 must mean week 25. So we've done well to get to this stage, I think.
We have, and we've still got watchers as well, which is incredible.
I know.
Even though it's time to go to different channels, they've done well to find us tonight. We've been hiding away here on your channel.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, what was I actually going to say there? I was going to go back to a comment up here, and while we're on the subject, have you been playing Pokemon Go?
You lot are absolute gits. There's been a wind up again tonight. Is that part
I might just drop this comment on the screen that might just help you out, Jay.
He's winding me up chronic on Instagram tonight. Absolutely chronic.
I mean, I had absolutely nothing to do with that. Not in the slightest. I would never have baited that in any way, shape or form. So
I reckon you've got a lot to do with it, to be fair, Ross. So my dream coral popped up on Instagram.
Yeah.
The Pikachu coral with a cheeky little Pikachu picture by the Nano Tank Reefer. He's got a stunning example of the Pikachu on his top shelf. Yeah. It better not be the one from Signature Frags, otherwise I will be upset. You better not got that one.
So it's not a wind up. He's actually got a frag of Pikachu.
It's more than a frag. I would say it's quite a big piece by the looks of the photos, anyway. But you can see it in his latest video. Actually, it shows it in there, and it does look quite a decent size. But I think he was saying that it's not grew much up the way. It seems to have based out quite a bit on the rock. So
yeah.
Which is what we were saying last week, didn't we? About SPS. Quite often they'll base out before they decide to grow upwards and outwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was saying that his Walt Disney, which is one of the most expensive one, has tended to base out more than it's kind of branched out, as it were.
So the question on that, is a Walt Disney worth it? Because I see pictures when they're under mega blue and they look good, but then I hear other people have got them and say they're a so what, because they have to be really morphed under loads of saturation for them to look any good. But I've never seen one before, so I don't know. So it'd be good to, in the comments, Nano Tank Reefer, is it as good as you see the pictures, or are they a bit overrated?
Yeah, according to his video, he thinks it's a bit overrated, I think. But I've never seen one for sale. I've never seen anybody selling one in the UK.
The Walt Disney or the Pikachu?
The Walt Disney.
I've seen them on Ultimate. I've seen them on Ultimate Reef before. They don't come up very often.
Yeah.
Oh dear, that says it all. And they're not cheap. It's one of those where it starts off obviously worldwide corals, and in the Yanks it comes over here, and they then become the hot property, don't they?
Nano Tank Reef. His new video is so good. He does like a tank tour. And
that is a very good one, actually. I'll give it that.
Like the quality of the corals and the image that he gets of his corals is absolutely stunning. If you haven't seen it, you've got to watch it. One of my favorite videos of his tank, but his 250 is just like, that's what I aspire to. I honestly aspire to that. His coloration on his SPS.
Yeah.
Really...
Jay, I don't think he's fragging that Pikachu, mate. You don't have to keep bumming it up.
What are you on about? Pikachu, Signature Frags is helping me out collecting some of that. What the hell's this say? I can't got time to. What's that? Jay wants a shining dragon acro. Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, you put me onto that, didn't you? Last.
Is that the one on Reef Builders, wasn't it? That actually,
really nice. Yeah.
Showed us last week, didn't they? And then you put it on your phone.
I need to make it to a stream on time and make it fine. Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is nice, that dragon acro. I've never seen one, but thing is now, this is the problem I'm having now. I don't know about you, Ross, but since I've started feeding that coral food, everything's like fluffing up, and I'm running out of room already. they're not
So
even growing
what food is it
much.
you're using, Jay?
That Reef's Elements.
Oh, right, yeah.
Amino acid one.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been using it a week and a half.
Yeah.
And the coral kind of happiness and health and coloration is unreal. I can't believe how good that product is. I don't work for them. I'm not sponsored. No, seriously, because as soon as you say that on YouTube, people think, oh, you've got a sponsor. Well, I'm not as lucky as Ross. Ross has got all the sponsors. He doesn't share them.
So Jay, what's it? So it's Reef Elements, amino acids, is it? What's
Reef's Elements. I think it says Elements with a Z.
Let me grab it for you here. So it was recommended to me by Northern Reefer.
Yeah.
Because I nearly killed that holy grail coral that I bought from him. He said, for my torches, I use this amino acids. It helps with the health, it helps with the healing, and it helps with the coloration. And I mean, I used to use AB+.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if it's a bit overrated compared to this little product. I get much more action out of the corals with that. Amino Plus, and it's only, I think it's only about £9 a bottle.
So is it intended as a coral food then, Jay, or what is it actually?
Well, I believe so. Yeah, feed your corals, amino acids, carbohydrates, and I dose 1 mil a day of this on the doser. And the colour and the health and the pot, I've never seen anything like it. I'll be honest. It's really everything is really responding well to it. So,
and I suppose it's too early to say whether it has an impact on nitrates or phosphates. You know, some of those products do, but not all of them do.
I think it's probably a bit too early to say if it's had an impact on the phosphates or nitrates. But the actual reef is so much happier. Like night and day. I'll be honest with you, it's a real difference.
So I'm assuming it's supposed to be for any type, because there are some that are targeted maybe at LPS rather than SPS. So is it a general one that's supposed to be good for all corals, regardless of whether they're LPS or SPS?
That's a really good question. On the bottle, it kind of markets itself at everything.
Okay.
But Northern Reefer was kind of saying it was LPS torches and things like that respond really well to it. So I don't really know, but it's super cheap, £9 a bottle or £10 a bottle, and the way that the corals have responded is incredible. Like really, really enjoying that food. Jay over food. I dose 1 mil a day at the moment, which I know, like my dosing regimes are laughable compared to most people who watch this, but it is making a huge difference. I've actually got a bottle of AB Plus here that I'm not even going to use now. So if anybody wants a free bottle of AB Plus, brand new, what is it? How many mil is it? You can have it as a prize tonight if you want.
Is it 500 or 1 litre?
I think this might be the 500 one.
Yeah. Well, do you want to do a giveaway at the end then, Jay, and then post it in about 3 months' time?
Yeah. What's that?
You missed that. Last time we did a giveaway, didn't you post it about 2 months later?
Yeah, I think it was out of date when it arrived.
What's the date on that? Just in case it does, it doesn't get to the poster.
It was that Hannah checker, wasn't it? I think that I gave away, and it turned up about two months later. Yeah, it was a good prize, that was.
Well, absolutely. I'm knocking it, but all I remember is you not sending it out on time.
And I don't work for Hannah because some people say I work for Hannah for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, I tell you what, the way you do the nitrate test, you'd be sacked if you work for Hannah. In all honesty, because they'll say, "Oh my God, don't let him go on again," because he just absolutely kills the nitrate test. Well, I don't mean kill as in a good way.
I need the new one now though, because I think the nitrates are above 5 at the moment. They've just crept above 5, so the old test doesn't pick it up now.
So there's a couple of questions here for you, Jay. Are you broadcast feeding it, or are you feeding individually?
Good question. I'm dosing it into the sump. Just
okay. So be broadcasting in, won't you? It just goes in the power heads, take care of it.
The other one was, doesn't need to be refrigerated after a certain time of AB.
Yeah, this is a good thing. So it doesn't need to be refrigerated. You can leave it in your cabinet on the doser. Whereas obviously AB Plus, when you open it, it has to be kept in the fridge. So then you can't put it on a doser, which is another reason why you might not be as regular with, you know, I think with reefing, it's all about getting a pattern of lighting, flow, feeding. And with that, it's kind of, you have to get it from the fridge, don't you, do it yourself.
Yeah.
A lot
I actually seen somebody, I think
I'm moving away now. I'm going Reef's Elements. It's cheaper and the corals like it better in my tank. So
yeah, I seen somebody that I think was on Ultimate Reef had posted up with their, see the AB Plus. What they had done to dose it was get one of those mini fridges that you get for rooms where like you can put cans in.
I've seen that.
And they drilled a hole in the top of that, put the tube in through it, and had the bottle in the fridge, and then the dosing line coming out it. And I thought, it's thinking outside the box. I don't know quite how good it would be, but thinking outside the box on that one anyway.
It should be okay, because the tube would go through the hole if it's just about the right size. So therefore, you shouldn't lose even much of the cord that's in it. But it sounds really good. And also looking at some of the comments, it looks like a few people use that already.
Yeah, it's a popular product, I think, Paul. Yeah, I think a lot of people are using it.
One thing I will say is, I mean, a couple of comments here about the customer support, and I mean, I've even spoke to Reef's Elements previously, and the help that you get from those guys is really, really good, to be fair. So
is it a UK company as well?
Yeah, I believe they are. I think if you speak to them, they'll kind of tailor things to you and give you quite a bit of help. Again, I don't use any Reef's Element products, so I don't know, but I do believe they're quite good customer service wise. I
think I might try it. Where did you get it from, Jake? I'm not too sure if how widespread.
I got it from Ross's favourite shop, second favourite shop, Kraken.
Oh, nice.
I know his favourite shop, along with Ness's.
Well, actually, on that one, there's a comment here from Colette asking who's going to Crackner.
Crackner, yes, I'm going to Crackner.
Are you coming, Jay? Are you?
Yeah, I'm coming to Crackner. Yeah, definitely. I don't know how long I'll be there for. I don't know if I'm going to be there like for the whole night thing or whatever, but I'm definitely going to go for the day.
You'll be there, mate. I'll just kidnap you and not let you leave.
So
if you get me on those whiskies, I've got no chance. I'll end up in bed by 7.
You'll be on the whiskey, mate. That'll be it, definitely.
So I won't be there because I've got plans that weekend. So unless those plans change, which I think is doubtful, I probably won't be going.
I think Steve was talking about going as well, wasn't
he? Yeah, he's going, because you're staying overnight. You're there is it for the weekend, Ross?
Yeah, I'm going down for the weekend, mate, and just making a weekend of it.
Yeah,
it's about a 4-hour journey for me, so I'm going to make a weekend of it and just stay down there and see what sights Manchester has to offer. But give it a go.
And obviously Steve will be there because he's within an hour. He's even less than an hour away from it, isn't he? You can't remember, but he's fairly close to Kraken.
Yeah, I don't actually know.
Yeah,
geography-wise where it is. Jay will be able to fill us in on that one, mate.
What's that?
I said I don't know geography-wise where it is, but I think it's pretty close to Manchester anyway, is it? About an hour away or something.
Isn't it? Is it Accrington, that area?
I don't know.
It's all Englandshire to me, mate.
Yeah, that's
it's all down south, isn't it, Ross?
Yeah.
Are the few of the Scottish boys coming down, or is it just you?
I'm not sure. Colin's just put in the chat saying he'll be at Crackner, so Colin's coming down. I think there is a few Scottish guys. I need to catch up
with Colin actually about his fish.
Oh yeah, or should I say, our fish?
Oh, is it yours? Right, I've got a bone to pick with you, Ross. Right, so I asked Colin if there was any available, and he said there was one available. You said there was none. You said they'd sold out of the flame. What was it? The flame.
Was it a scooter?
Flame scooter Blenny.
Flame Blenny Dragonette fish.
So, long story short, there was one available when we went in, and then there was none available.
Oh, you've got it.
I can't confirm nor deny that, mate.
Oh, he has as well.
Hang on.
He has.
There's nothing there to see, mate.
This hobby is just a wind up. Everybody's winding me up.
There you go, Jay. There's Colin's reply to you.
I was like, Colin, is there any left? He was like, yeah, there's one left, mate. Yeah. Then I asked you, and you was like, nope.
So how was it last week? So I know you said there was a few fellow reefers going there. You're going to meet up with half a dozen people.
Yeah, it was actually quite good, to be honest. We went over to Kraken Corals, had a little kind of meet up there. I think there was 6 of us. I'm not sure who actually from the chat. Colin McCallum was there from the chat, and Mark from Practical Reefer.
Okay.
If you haven't looked at, in fact, there we go. There's a comment.
So basically, you bought everything that Jay wants. That's basically what you've done, the lot of you.
Maybe.
Basically, I wanted a fish. They had 10 of them there, and so I didn't get one. They've mopped them all up.
Well,
and you know what? They sold them on for double the price as well, Jay.
They were cheap. They're not cheap now.
I know, yeah. My Scottish brothers have done me over there.
I met up with Colin and Mark from Practical Reefer as well, which was good to put faces to names. Obviously, I'd seen Practical Reefer's channel. If you don't already, then go and check out Mark's channel, Practical Reefer. Brilliant wee channel there, so check that out. But yeah, it was quite good to meet the guys and just kind of have a bit of a chat. As Mark said there, 5 hours later, told the missus I'd be out a couple of hours. We ended up staying quite a bit longer than we probably should have, but never mind. That's what it is. So, but yeah, it was quite good actually. Good to just kind of get a slight bit of normality again, shall we say? Just to meet up with people and go back to pre-COVID times.
I saw in one of your videos you said about they quarantine, and you said about they only took quarantine, and someone came in a comment and said, I don't think that's true. I think there's quite a few that quarantine, and there probably is a few LFS that do, but there's a hell of a lot that don't. Oh
yeah, and I mean that was one of the things that, okay, I maybe worded it badly, but I mean they are really, really strict with the quarantine, and it's not just chuck them in the tank and watch them for 3 weeks. They get treated with basically everything you can imagine in those 3 weeks, and then get monitored, eaten. They get weaned on frozen food and so on. So that was kind of the point I was trying to make with that one. Yeah. Not to say anything else with that, but I mean, as usual, it's YouTube. You'll always get somebody that bites and is unhappy with something. So yeah, it is what it is. But no, I'm quite impressed with that actually. I think there'll be quite good things to come. And I'm going to give a shameless plug, but if you go on their website and use Bearded Reef 10, you'll get 10% off.
There you go.
That is good. So do they post corals and fish as well?
Yeah, corals, fish, and cleanup crew. They are stocking dry goods as well in the shop, but they're not on the website yet. So the dry goods will be on the website at some point. But it's just corals, fish, and cleanup crew. The website doesn't get updated regularly, so if you get in touch with them, there will be stuff in the shop that isn't on the website yet, and so on. So, or if you want to order anything, they can do that. But yeah, it's guys are brilliant.
Can you use that code in store as well?
Yeah, you can walk in and use the code. I don't quite know if you'd be confident to walk up to the till and say, I want to use a discount code, Bearded Reef 10, but you can use that, and that's been agreed that you can use it in the store.
I'm from Yorkshire, I'd definitely use it.
So you'd say Bearded Reef 30, because Ross said it was 30, not 10%.
Yeah, I think
You'd probably just go, sorry mate, I don't know what you're saying. I can't understand the accent.
It's only for north of the border.
So when is it getting some more of these, seeing as you've managed to take 10 out of the shop if I could buy one, when is it getting some more of these flame Blenny
Dragonettes? So I think he's putting another order in for them.
By any chance?
Maybe. But he's going to put another order in so that he's getting, I think he's going to order like a box of either 5 or 10 males and a box of 5 or 10 females, because the last box he got was meant to be a mixed box of 10 males and females, and it arrived with 10 males. So he's going to order an individual box of each so that there can be pairs of them. But yeah, they're actually really nice, to be fair.
How's it settling in then, Ross? I'll ask Colin as well. How's yours settling in, Colin?
I mean, sorry, I've not actually. I don't have one, mate. I didn't get one.
If you had one, what would it be like if you had one? If it was in there now, not that you've got one, would it be doing quite well and feeding on frozen?
I would say it would probably hide about. I mean, if I had one in the tank, I'm not saying it would hide in there. If I had one,
I keep watching your tank so closely.
Hang on, I need to block this out.
No, leave it where it is.
In a minute, he's going to leap off his chair, isn't he? I've seen it.
Keep watching that corner.
So Bravo 20 says that I stayed 2 hours more than the others. I did stay slightly longer than the others just to pick up some things, but that's just me being me. So but they are actually really nice. So I think Colin, if he's still in the chat, I know he was going away somewhere, but Colin can probably fill us in on how it's doing, because
I'd love to know how he's getting on with it.
But they were actually really nice. I mean, the personality of them in the tank darting about and hunting for food was quite cool to see. So yeah, I was quite impressed with that, to be honest.
What I can't believe, Ross, but obviously I can just, is how reasonable the prices are. When you said that was 25 quid, the guy's obviously got them in, he's looked after them, he's made sure they're okay, he's got them on frozen, and then he sold them for 25 quid. Because I mean, that is, I mean, a bargain, because that's a lot of effort to probably make quite a small margin on it. Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those things again. I suppose it's probably supply and demand type thing. There's maybe less of a demand for things like that up here, so if these prices are slightly lower, then you're more likely to sell them rather than having them higher. It also does show the markup that some places make, because I've seen some ridiculous prices for them online compared to. I mean, I think there was 3 different prices. So I think Nessie's there was 25. There was somebody else was 32, and there was one I seen was £50 odd as well for the same fish. So I don't know. I mean, they all have to place an order. I believe that was an order direct from Malaysia or something like that. They came from. I can't remember, but they're all paying the same to get them, I would say. So I don't know. I don't know how shops price differently.
The thing on that is that a lot of LFS, they'll get a lot of their stock from TMC. They won't necessarily import, although some do. So if they go to TMC, you've got someone obviously brings them in from the importers. They've got obviously their costs, their markup, blah blah blah. So therefore they then sell them onto LFS. So already you've got someone else in the supply chain, haven't you? That's got to have, they'll have their markup, and rightly so. So that would add a bit more. So that could be the difference between 25 and maybe 32 or 35 or 40.
Well, I think you're right with that, to be fair, because when I spoke to Jamie last week about that, and I asked, if he uses TMC or that, and I think he said that he only uses TMC for things that he really can't get elsewhere. So I think a lot of his stuff comes direct from the suppliers. Like Colin said there, they came from the Philippines, so that's where those flame scooter blendies come from. But yeah, you'll just obviously need to. You can place an order for whatever you want, and they'll get it in. But I've ordered a little something special coming in soon, so that should be an interesting
we can't do
one.
that. What's that? You're teasing us there.
It's another tease, mate. Another
absolute teaser. Subscribe to Bearded Reef's channel to find out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So there has been a couple of questions that I've missed, so I'm going to go back to them, because a lot of people have asked what's happening with the algae in my tank.
Right, okay.
So long story short, when I was over last week, I picked up a urchin for the tank to try and combat some of the algae, I suppose. To be fair, the urchin's doing a great job, but it's just too much for it to cope with on its own. You can see literally little patches where the urchin's moved across it and took, but I mean, that's in the space of a couple of days, and it's only making a little patch through it. So what I've done is actually got it's right here actually. That wasn't deliberate, but I don't know if you see that, Flux RX. So that's let me just pronounce this right, fluconazole. A lot of people had said use fluconazole. So Flux RX, the Blue Life stuff, is what I got. It's one of those ones that actually, when you get it, it's a bit of an anticlimax, because it's a tiny little pot just with some powder in it, but supposedly it's really good. So I've added some of that in as of 2 nights ago, I think it was, and it does seem to be making a difference. The rock work's a lot clearer. I reckon it's probably 50% of the algae's gone. Having said that, there was a lot, so 50% is still there, so there is a lot left.
Yeah.
But I also, it was Mark Practical Reefer had suggested this when I was across at Nessie's Lair the last time, and it's these. Now they're almost like a wire brush, but it's nylon bristles that's on the end of them.
Right.
So Mark had got his from B&M. I ordered these from Amazon. They come in a pack with, it's like a wire brush set. So you get a brass, a nickel, and the nylon one. So obviously I'm not using the brass and the nickel ones, but the nylon one it's just like a really stiff toothbrush as such, to be honest. So I've been using that and just scrubbing the rocks, and then using a little net to scoop out as much as I can, and then changing the filter floss every day, obviously, and it's started to work quite well. So I've done that. I've still got the Vibrant in like I have been doing, but it doesn't seem to touch the hair algae in the quantities that I've got anyway. I dare say it would if you had a little amount, but the quantities I've got, it wasn't making a dent in it. So fingers crossed, Flux RX. Now I think it's going to take about 10 to 14 days to actually work properly.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that, Ross. Does it say how long it would usually take before it takes effect, but then potentially clears it?
So it does say don't use if you have macroalgae or a refugium. Allow 10 to 14 days for results. So a lot of people that I've spoken to have said it will take you know, the 2 weeks, don't do a water change in the 2 weeks. So I'm going to skip my water change this weekend and see how that gets on. So I did do my water test. I'm just going to pull these. I done a water test today. Now I know the algae is still going to be sucking some of the nutrients out, but my nitrate was at 4.4 and my phosphate was at 0.05. So if I didn't have any algae, I'd be really happy with those results. But I have a funny feeling it'll be higher than that, and the algae's dried, obviously taking some of that nutrients out. So I just need to be careful and keep an eye on it. But I think that, touch wood, it should be on its way out anyway. But I just need to wait and see.
Have you stopped using Vibrant then, or have you continuing with Vibrant every, what is it, couple of weeks or whatever? I can't remember what the instructions are.
So I have been using Vibrant every week, but like I say, only goes, I think it's 1.5 mil, which tiny amount. So obviously when I done my last water change, I had put the 1.5 mil in, which was on Sunday, and then I've added this in this week. So there is Vibrant and FluxRx in the tank at the same time. I don't know if that's going to have any effect, or I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you, but it's in anyway. So
have you seen any negatives at all of using that? Any negatives, like any corals, any inverts, fish?
No, and I've done quite a bit of digging on the forums, Ultimate Reef and so on, and I can't find anything to say that it's has any negative impact to that. I mean, I dare say somebody will say something that it's killed something, but I don't, to my knowledge anyway, and from what I've read, I couldn't find anything that was saying that it was kind of bad for any livestock.
So it's not like ChemiClean or anything like that, which absorbs the oxygen, so therefore you've got to increase your power heads and stuff like that. And obviously don't need to do a water change, so that can't be the case, because they usually say on ChemiClean you treat, although that's for cyano, isn't it? You treat, and then within X number of hours you need to do a big water change to get it out your system.
Yeah. So it doesn't actually say that you need to do that. So basically what it says, I'll quickly read this out here. So it says directions is turn off skimmer and discontinue using activated carbon and phosphate remover, and all other chemical filtration should be removed during the course of treatment. Filter socks are recommended to aid in cleaning of the aquarium. So I think from what I read online is you can turn off your skimmer and take out the carbon for 72 hours, and then I believe you can switch the skimmer and so on back on. I don't run a skimmer anyway, so it's not really an issue for me. And I did take the carbon out because I've got carbon in the centre chamber, so I just took the wee bag of carbon out while I was doing that. I don't think I'm going to put the carbon back in until I finish the full treatment, just in case it counteracts that. But
because all those things I think will skim, or the carbon will absorb the chemicals that you're putting in it, which it neutralizes it, which means it doesn't work. I think that's why you have to take that out, as opposed to anything adverse. It just kills the stuff you're putting in, I suppose, because that's the whole point of carbon, isn't it? Just take stuff out, and the skimmer is supposed to obviously skim stuff out by the bubbles. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a comment there. Rudra's asked what the nitrates are, so that's what the readings I just gave out there now. The nitrates are reading 4.4 and phosphate 0.05, I think I said. But that's not an accurate. 0.05 is my phosphate, and nitrate's 4.4. But that won't be an accurate reading. That's on the HANA checkers, obviously. But the nitrate and phosphate is going to be getting absorbed by the algae that's there. And that's what I think anyway. I don't know. I could be wrong with that. But I think that's what's going to be happening. So therefore, those readings, I would imagine that the readings in my tank is going to be higher than that. But because the algae is there and it's consuming those nutrients, then it's a kind of false reading. I don't know if you guys...
I would say exactly. Because if you have a refugium, it kind of works on the same process, that you have the Cheeto, whatever, in the sump, you have a light that grows, that then soaks up the nitrates and the phosphates. So on that principle, you can say when you're doing your nitrates and your phosphates, you're getting a false reading because the Cheeto's sucking it up. But that's good because it's in your sump. And actually the whole purpose of that is that you're naturally absorbing that stuff. So having green hair algae is the same principle, but it's the wrong algae in the wrong place. Because if that was in your sump, you might shrug your shoulders and say, so what? Unless it's bunging up your return pipe, your return pump, or your skimmer. So I would say there is a false reading, and there's no way of knowing what the true figure actually is. And so you just need to clear it up, and then it will balance out to a true reading.
I mean, I have seen people using, I think they're called algae scrubbers, and it's basically in the return pipe in the sump. It looks like a bit of egg crate they hang down. The algae grows on that. The water filters through it and back through again. So what you say there, Paul, is completely right. I mean, that it is almost a type of filtration as such. But I don't want that filtration growing on my rocks in the main tank, and I don't really have a separate sump. It's all in one tank, so I can't really afford to have it anywhere in the tank, really, to be honest. Although it isn't a nuisance as such, it just doesn't look great.
Yeah, and you usually find if you've got a refugium that works really well, you're less likely to have green hair algae and stuff in the display. I'm not saying you won't, but less likely, because it's being out competed by what's going on in your sump. So in the DD 900, which I have got refugium, it took ages for it to kick in. I've got little to zero hair algae actually in the display tank itself. I've got loads of bubble algae, which is a different issue now that I've got to sort out, but I don't have anything on that side. And algae scrubber seems to be quite popular in the States, more so in this country. And you see over here again in Ultimate Reef, you get people that have done a DIY, so they've made their own algae scrubbers, and there's some threads on there, and they're supposed to be really effective as well. They're quite expensive as an initial outlay, but when you think all it does after that, it just the algae grows, you clean it, you rinse, repeat. Literally, you do rinse it and you repeat. That's probably quite cheap compared to, and I've seen people run those without a skimmer. So you can argue you haven't got to have a skimmer, then you haven't got all the problems that you've got, and you're buying other stuff, and if it kills things and you've got an imbalance. So it saves a lot of time, arguably, and money, not too sure on that side. But it seems to be an effective way of running a tank.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen quite a few people with, like Black Pearl Reef suggested there, the external algae reactor. The ones that I've seen is almost like the clear acrylic tubes that they wrap like an LED light all the way down. I think they're homemade things from what I've seen.
No, I had one of those. I had a frag tank in a garage for about 2 years, and there was one that was an ALR1, which was a smaller one, exactly that, acrylic tube, had lights wrapped around the center part. You put some Cheeto in it, it's got 3 shelves, and it works really well. The only issue is if it filled up, it would then there'd be a lack of light on the inside, and that would start going to mush, and it wouldn't work so effectively. So you have to be really good at cleaning it out. But actually, if you're a bit pushed for space and you don't want all the mess that a refugium creates in that part of the sump, it's really, really good. And I think Tunzi also have one as well, and I've seen that, and it looks pretty efficient. So it is a good way of doing it. And you could have that external as well. So I had mine in the sump, but you could run it outside as well if you wanted. You didn't have the room, because you can just do the pipe at the in and the out, and it would be fine. I must admit, I had it inside the sun, but it worked really well for me for the period of time that I had that tank running. And when I got a new one, I decided I didn't want to do that route. I actually wanted to try refugium for the first time, because I hadn't done one before. And Santa Monica, they're the US. I think they're US.
Shipped from the
scrubbers,
US.
And they're supposed to be the comments I've seen on things like Reef to Reef, they seem to have a really good reputation. But they start, so I think it's about $300 up to 8 or 9, and you could have your own special one, a custom one, may depend on the size of your tank. It says the US on there at the bottom.
I mean, it's not anything that I've looked at just now. I think I just want to try and get this under control first, and then we'll see. If it starts to come back time after time, or I'm struggling with nutrients, then I'll go down one or the other routes.
I don't think you need some of that. I think it was one of those things that crept up on you, Ross, because we said before, we said it last week. Your blue light, you don't notice it. All of a sudden, you go, "What's going on here?" You've turned the white lights on, and all of a sudden, you've got an inch worth of algae, and it's kind of too late to prevent it, isn't it? And it takes quite a while to get rid of it.
Yeah, 100%. It's my fault for not noticing it. I mean, it's one of those things that if I had a whiter spectrum on the lights, then I probably would have noticed it. But I do run quite heavy blues, but it is one of those things.
Yeah, I suppose it's only every week or so, put it on white, and you can see what's going on, can't you? You haven't got to keep it on for long, maybe 2 or 3. Once the lights have been on for a few hours, just switch it over. Are you itching, Jay?
So my chat is to the left. So every time I'm looking at a chat, it's when I'm looking to the left-hand side. You're coming up on the side. That's all it is. I'm not itching to do a nitrate test now. I don't even think it'll show up on this. My nitrates are over 5 now, so I don't think it'd show up.
Well, what you need is a new HANA checker, mate. Did you not get one from your your management there, Hannah.
I'd be grudge buying a second one. That's like 100. That'd be like £130 on 2 nitrate checkers. It's a ridiculous amount of money.
Surely you get them free being part of Hannah, do you not?
Yeah, I'm not part of Hannah, though, am I? Stop telling people I'm sponsored by Hannah. I wish I was, to be honest. I could get the reagents a bit cheaper. Maybe it wouldn't be a pound a test then. That'd be nice.
Although I did scoop up some more high range.
Where have you got those from?
That was from Kraken Corals, mate.
That's from the blue market. Reefing.
Kraken Corals got them in, and they went straight out as quick as they got them in. So
Ross, do you do a weekly order with Kraken Corals? Because every Friday we have a conversation, and you go, "This is one I got earlier," and it seems to be from Kraken, and your livestock from Nessie.
Do you know what it is, mate? I just can't get enough of these sweets. That's my problem.
It's got a sweet tooth.
So you spent about £1,000 on your tank and about 2,000 on bits and bats.
No, I've probably spent about 2,000 on sweets, mate. I think that's what it is.
With the algae stuff that you've put in, did you go with the recommended dose or did you go a little bit under?
So everything that I've put in, I've went bang on the recommended dose. I know some people said, try slightly under and so on, but I went exactly what it said in the bottle, basically.
Yeah, I always
I actually thought that was going to be Yorkshire tea at the end of that email.
I'm waiting on Hannah Yorkshire tea, Hannah, and Sea Friendly Reef. I gave him a hint to come and fill my tank, and he's not bothered, has he? So
no way.
No. Can you believe it?
Oh, here's an interesting one from Gao Gao. I've not seen Gao Gao in the chat for a while.
Yeah,
back
Gao
this
Gao.
week.
I think the Isle of Man interested enough for it.
He said that he hates the sweets, and that's the first person I've ever heard saying they don't like the Kraken sweets.
Wow. It's just rock. It's like just stick
it
rock.
Is. It's just rock, isn't it?
There's not much.
Basically.
I suppose if you don't like rock, that would explain it.
Oh yeah.
That could be an issue. So, gee, I take it you've not heard anything back from Yorkshire Tea yet, then?
No, they're not interested in sponsoring me. Why would they be?
They will one day, mate. They'll realise.
They're a big company. But yeah, I'll keep the dreaming. I'll keep dreaming, and hopefully one day, you never know, supply with free Yorkshire tea.
I think I've planted this seed on the sweets now. There seems to be a few folk going to get them.
Yeah, you know what's incredible about Kraken? Every time I order, I always get a different sticker. Every time.
No, I've got a pile of them up here that are just getting stored now.
Swapsies.
Are they all the same ones or different ones, Ross?
No, I've got a lot of different ones. There's some similars, but got some. I should start. It's like being at school again. I've got a shiny. I'll trade you my shiny for 2 of your normal ones, and
yeah,
that's what it's like.
It is amazing how those stickers can promote a business, because on Instagram you're forever seeing Kraken stickers, aren't you? I know you see a lot of people swap, but from an LFS point of view, I think I see more for Kraken than anyone else. And maybe that's because the people I follow and what comes up on the feed, it might be that, but it does seem to be more Kraken from a UK perspective than any other.
Who's not bought something from? If you're in reefing, who's not bought something from Kraken? Because you know that it comes the following day, don't you? That's the thing. The delivery is like super efficient. Yeah,
because even if you go for the free shipping, I was thinking it'll take, it'll come 4, 5, 6 days later, and I was really surprised it turned up the next day.
Well, I've actually heard that they've upped the free shipping limit now. I don't know if it's true because I haven't looked. But I believe it used to be 50 quid for free shipping. I think they've upped it now to 75. It
is 75 because I ordered the scraper from them, because they're the only ones that do the what's it called? What one is it? What's the scraper? Yeah, the Flipper Platinum one, isn't it? They're the only ones I've seen it do that. So I bought that, and then I bought some other stuff to make it up to 75 quid. Stuff I didn't necessarily need now, but I'd need it in a month or so.
It's amazing how dangling some free postage at you gets you to spend that little extra money, doesn't it?
It does. If your basket's at 50 quid, and let's face it, you've got to spend another 50% to get it to 75, but it doesn't feel like that. So I just whack something else in there that I'm going to need, but not necessarily now. And obviously then it does work.
We all do it, to be fair.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll tell you what doesn't work. Bearded Reef 10 doesn't work on Kraken yet.
No, it doesn't. It works on Aquarium and Nessie's layer, but not on Kraken.
Bearded Reef 10 on quite a few. It only works on a couple of shops at the moment.
I've got a message from Jonathan here saying he sent me a picture.
Oh,
which
of what?
I'll just show you this just now. There's his cracking coral sweets.
That's like a box of sweets, isn't it?
I know. That's so basically, Jonathan, just send me your address. I'll be round as soon as the stream's finished, and I'll get them all off you, mate.
Collecting them. It is a good shop. It is a really good shop.
And I know when you had that problem with that pump, didn't you? Or many moons ago, they sorted it out pretty good as well. So I think a test of good service is if something doesn't go right, do they put it right?
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, when everything's going swimmingly well, that's I'm gonna say it's easy. It's not easy because you got to get it to you in the right way. But when something goes a bit pear-shaped, if your LFS sorts that out, no issue, and they go above and beyond, that's when you know it's a good shop. Whether that's online or whether you walk in, that makes a difference, I think.
Yeah.
And if you're getting a tank and things, they do finance as well, don't they? You know, if you're buying like the full setup, you can get finance options as well, which is good.
Yeah, but I tell you what, a lot of the LFS they all seem to be doing finance. They're using this. Is it Karma?
Klarna, I think it is.
Klarna, you whatever it is, you can get 3 months or 6 months. It just seems to be you can fill your basket up with X amount, and then you can get it on 3-6 months.
I think that's a very dangerous slope to go down, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you start buying corals on that basis.
I've only got 2 brown acros. I don't know what he's talking about. My Acropora tenuis is completely brown at the moment. It's supposed to be rainbow. It's never seen a rainbow.
It wouldn't be a live stream if you weren't getting it tight, Jay, would it?
I know, yeah. I don't mind, honestly. It's all in good spirit. There's a dog barking outside my window. Can you hear it?
Uh-oh, Julie's still waiting. That's been 6 months. Is that the ND tank that you're waiting on, Julie?
6.
I think it was an ND tank she was waiting on.
That's
ND, that's custom, isn't it? ND Aquatics. And didn't Reef King had he was getting one for free, that Peninsula, wasn't it? And it took him a month for Sundays to get it to him. Because I've heard a lot around, you see quite a few posts around custom tanks and it's taking forever to get them. And I think it's because 1, they're really busy, and 2, they're struggling. They've been struggling to get the glass amongst other things. So therefore there's a bit of a backlog on it. So I think it's a combination of demand, but also can't get the right materials in, is what I've read. I don't know if that's true or not.
It took me 3 months to get a Red Sea Max Nano from when the lockdown, April 2020.
Yeah.
The summer. It took me 3 months. Obviously, that was a big lockdown, the first one. 3 months to get one. Kraken actually got me in the end.
It's the price of those Red Sea Max Nanos now is ridiculous.
Yeah, good
isn't it?
tank though, mate. Honestly, if you're a novice like me, you don't know anything about reefing. Anybody could run one of these.
I get that, but for the money you pay for that, there's got to be other options out there, I would say, is there not?
Who is he now? 550?
I don't know, mate. I thought
that's
what's that? 550 for how many litres?
75 litres. It's idiot proof, Paul. Honestly, this tank is idiot proof, right? The sump works, the pump works, the balance. You're laughing, but it is. I think
I'm going to wait for some comments.
I think anybody could run a Max Nano pretty well because it runs itself. I mean, I've upgraded the light, but I think even the original light was good.
So does it come with all the stuff? So it comes with the pump, heater?
No, you have to pay extra for the heater. But everything else,
it comes with the pump.
Comes with a filter sock, carbon, the skimmer, the return pump. What else?
So that is quite good that you've virtually got everything you need. Maybe it's a couple of bits and bats.
Oh, the lights as well.
Yeah.
But like Nathan Willard, he had one. His Max Nano was brilliant. Reef Kings had one. His was brilliant. You know, everybody who seems to have one, they can run nice tanks.
It's a good way of getting into the hobby because it's quite manageable, isn't it? Your water changes. You don't need loads of water. You haven't got buckets being carted through. Blah, blah, blah. So it's a really good one to learn your trade, really, isn't it?
It's a perfect start for anybody who's getting into it. I think it's the perfect tank to start with.
Yeah.
But after a year and a half, you're going to, maybe even a year mark, you start to grow out of it. That's the problem with it.
I think definitely
if
if
it was
it's
me,
if it's your first tank, you will definitely get itchy feet because you'll see others and you think, well, what if? And you'll run out of room, so you'll want more coral. That's probably what drives it, and you want different fish.
Yeah.
And so therefore you want more and more. That's what I found when I had the 135 litre. I just wanted a bigger test, and I wanted to be able to keep SPS, some blah kind of thing. So that's what drove me to get the bigger tank. Sorry, Ross, you was going to say.
No, I know, again, I'm biased, but I think if it was me doing it again, I would go for the Peninsula, but the 25 gallon around the 15 that I've got, which will be 115 litres or something about that. 100, I'll be around about 100.
Yeah.
So
has that got a skimmer on it, Ross?
That's
what put me off the fact that
I think it comes with a skimmer.
No.
But it's half the price, if not less, than the tank that you got. Having said that, you would need to get a light for it as well, so you start weighing that up. But yeah, that's probably what I would go for personally. But again, I'm biased because I've got the water box already, so I'd kind of struggle. But there is different options out there, and I think this comment from Practical Reefer actually sums everything up. That I think there's going to be a lot of year-old second-hand stuff coming up soon from people who started during lockdown and realised that they can't do it or they don't have time to do it now. They're back to work and they're back to normality again and going out at weekends and so on. And it will just become too much for some people. So I think there will be some good bargains to be had over the next 6 months, kind of thing.
And what I've found is during the summer is when you get the best deals, because a lot of people give up the hobby in the summer because they haven't got time, they've neglected the tank. And actually, a lot of people don't buy tanks over the summer, so therefore the price comes down, and then people come back into the hobby in September. And there's only one tank I've got that's brand new. All the others, so the Reefer 450, the 170, all of them are second hand, and the most I paid was 50% of the retail price, and the 450 was only 3 months old. So you get some really good bargains. But I would say on a second hand one, make sure I wouldn't buy one that was really old because of the seals and damage and water damage, and just have a look at them really closely as well. But you can get some really good bargains second hand that's 50% of the retail price, if not less. So if you're setting up, you can do it for not a fraction, but a hell of a lot cheaper than a brand new. It's obviously not as nice and exciting as a spanking new tank, but practically you save a lot of dough.
Oh yeah. There's a good suggestion actually from Jamie as well. It's one that I'd forgot about, but the innovative marine tanks, and they come with aluminium frame stands as well. I think that's what is Nano Tank Reefer's small tank, not an innovative.
I think I've had some of their products. I've had some of their algae reactors and algae light as well, and their products are really well made, and they're really small because all of their tanks, I don't think they sell tanks that have a sump, so everything's in the back chamber. So all the stuff they sell has to be really small, and I found the quality of their gear to be really good.
But yeah,
has anybody in the chat had problems buying second-hand tanks? Because to be fair, I've been looking at a second-hand tank to go larger, because you can save a lot of money, and eBay at the moment is getting quite flooded with people dropping out of the hobby, like was it Black Pearl Reef just said then. But is there any drawbacks of having a second-hand tank apart from the glass might be a bit scratched or something?
I suppose it's dependent on how it's been looked after. So if you buy one, obviously they are wooden. Most of them have got wooden cabinets. If they've been neglected or a little bit older, could the cabinets be damaged? So that's going to cause problems. I think one of the reasons why Red Sea tanks have had problems is when people clean the glass, they get a bit overzealous with their scrapers, and they cut into the silicone. So whether that's a Red Sea or another one, check the silicone, because you have a look at it. When you see some pictures saying, I've got a problem with this, when you look at the silicone, it's all frayed. And you can see they've just been bumping straight into silicone, as opposed to taking it careful. And so you think about how sharp they are, they're just banging straight into the corners, and they cause problems. So I would look at things like the seals and look at the cabinets to make sure there's no water damage. I probably wouldn't buy one that's, if I was being picky, it's more than a year old. You can see, only because you're less likely to get problems. The only problem, when a tank's full up, it's hard to see the scratches. So I've seen people have got them home, and then they see big scratches. And also, if it's empty, how do you know it's watertight, because some of them you would sell have already been broken down. So there are some risks involved in that, because do you really know what you're buying?
It's really interesting because, like, when you buy a car, a second-hand car, you know what to look for.
Yeah.
See, I've never thought about it. Obviously, you've thought about it quite a lot, of, you know, looking at the seals.
Well, I've bought 3 second-hand tanks. One of them, the 450, I travelled up to Derby, near your neck of the woods. It was full with water. I brought the whole tank through with livestock, so vampire tang, regal tang, all that kind of stuff. And 350 litres of water, and I brought it back in 2 cars. As well, so I took a bit of a punt because I had to check it. If I got there, it could have been a complete dog of a tank, but I know it had only been set up for 3 months, so there was a good chance it was okay.
See, it sounds stupid, but I'd never think about asking for it to be filled with water, to be honest. I just assume that, you know, that I just trust someone to sell me a tank that's in working order. I know you can't always. The reason why I'm saying this is someone was selling a 250, which is a bit smaller than what I want. But a 250 for Red Sea Reefer 250, top of the range one, you know, that should be £2,000 brand new. I think it's about 800 at the moment on eBay. I thought, and it's less than a year old. It's barely been used, to be honest. I was like, God, that is such a saving. You know, you're saving £1,200 on a new one. It looks pretty new, to be fair. But then it's always like, well, what if something's wrong with it, or what if it's not quite working? As I say, I don't even know what to look for.
So that's the downside. So I'd have a look. Number one, have a look. Is the sump the new version? Because they've got a 1, 2, and 3. Because if it's less than 12 months, it's going to be the new version on that. And then you just check the seams, and also check the cabinet to see if there's any water damage. On that. A 250 hasn't got a separate cabinet, has it? If I remember rightly. So you can just have a look, and just see if it's less than 12 months. Are the hinges rusty? So under 12 months, it should be. If you take care of it, should be in really good condition. So if I look at my DD Reef Pro, I've had that since I think it's January or February last year. It looks as good as new. Which is really unusual for me considering how I treat things, but it looks spanking new. And it's got no water damage or anything on that. So if people, in the chat, people are really good at this kind of thing. As soon as they spill some water, they'll clean it off straight away. So therefore you don't get any salt creep and you don't get any water going into the seams or anything else.
There's definitely some good deals to be had at the moment from secondhand.
That's interesting. Practical Reef, because I'd heard about the Red Sea tanks were reinforcing the seams at the front because people were chivying away at the silicone when they're cleaning. So I'm assuming that's one of the. How old is the tank?
So how do they reinforce the seams on the front then? How does that work?
I'd heard they put plastic. I don't know. Obviously, Practical Reef
inside the silicone, like.
Well, I think they've got the silicone so it's there, and then inside there would be a 90-degree. I don't know, it's a piece of plastic. So I don't know if it's just down the sides or whether it's the bottoms. You're probably not going to nick because you've got sand and stuff there. Well, you could. It's the issue I think comes at the sides, but it'd be interesting to see how they do that.
Hey Ross, you've got a poll.
Yeah, I have, mate.
You've got a big poll going, yeah. Oh, look at that. Just looking at results. That's good. I like that little feature, Ross. I like that.
And that's a new thing, mate. It's new.
I've just voted yes for second-hand tanks. I've been convinced that if it's a good.
Well, we're at a 60-40 split just now from 20 votes again there. So it's.
I think I would because a lot of people have got a lot of money and they just buy things that just on a bit of a whim. Yeah. And then they think, you know what? 3 months down the line, no, I don't really fancy this.
Yeah, I bought a Red Sea Reefer 170, and that's going back quite a bit, and that was 250 quid. And I was pretty happy with that price, and it came with a few bits and pieces as well. With it came with a return pump, with a heater. So you can, if people are desperate to sell, they just want to get it out of their living room or whatever, they'll virtually give it away. Yeah. But I think what you got to do, when you get there, don't feel pressured that you got to say, yeah, I'll take it. Take your time to look around it, which is always, you feel someone's looking over your shoulder and stuff like that, and you just want to get in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think a bit weird when people sell all the like the rock work and all the corals and fish and things.
Yeah.
Why not sell those separately? I don't get it.
It's one of those, though. I think if you're selling a tank, I've seen a couple of people selling a tank recently that's had the tank still running, and they've basically said you can come and dismantle it yourself and take it away.
They take that, don't they?
Yeah, they basically said come and dismantle it yourself, which I think is quite a good thing because you see it as it would be running. And it's then up to you to dismantle it and take everything off. And
which is what I did, Ross. It's a real pain to do because you've got to have enough containers and your bags and where you do the fish, especially if you're traveling a long distance. But in terms of being able to see it in action and see if everything's okay as much as you can if you're looking at a tank that's working for, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So there's a couple of comments there saying that so Jamie said there's an additional layer of silicone on the inside, so when you clean the glass you're not damaging the silicone that holds the glass together. Yeah. And then Backshift Reefer said that there's actually a plastic piece in all the corners to protect the silicone, so it must be kind of inside the silicone or
so that's the reinforced, so it sits on top of it, doesn't it? Basically, so you can't get to it, which makes sense. I don't know if any other manufacturers do, or whether it's just Red Sea. So I don't know if Waterbox do. DD don't. Well, they didn't. I don't know if they have recently, but then I haven't heard anything about their silicone. It'd be quite. If I look at it when I clean that tank, the silicone doesn't seem to be as exposed as they are on the Red Sea, or maybe I just haven't noticed. I just take care. I'm really careful when it comes to the edges on how you clean that, and quite often I'll use edge of a credit card, than actually use the flipper. Yeah, because it's less of a risk to it.
So I've been using the flipper, but not doing the corners. So just leaving like basically a couple of mil at the corners. And then when it comes to doing my water change and so on, I just use a little toothbrush and just run down the corner.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I've started using a toothbrush recently as well. Just makes life easier. And also on the rocks as well, you can get a lot more crap off the rocks, I think, by using that.
Yeah, definitely. It seems to work well for me anyway. So
you got your new toothbrush. Okay, but say now, you got your new toothbrush now, haven't you, Ross? Your nylon one.
That's my algae brush, mate, this one.
Oh, can't you use that in the corners now?
Yeah, you probably could, but it's a very, very stiff bristle on it. So I like my toothbrush, I run a medium toothbrush, Jay. That's what you want for doing the corners. A little medium.
It's a very technical hobby, this is.
Yeah.
Very technical.
I know.
I tell you what, Jay, when you start getting to the Reefer 450, the 525, the weight of those tanks.
Yeah, I want 300 litre. I want 300.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect, well...
What, basically a 4 foot tank?
4 foot, yeah. So I can get another light, same light, but another one.
Yeah.
I can choose pretty much any fish or coral because it's of a decent size. See, I think a 250 is a bit small for certain fish, isn't it? So you're still a bit limited there.
It depends what you want to go for, really, because I think most
the 250. I like the look of the 250, but you can't still have what you want, can you? There's limitations to what you can have in it.
Yeah, the difference for me is if I've got the 900, which is a 300, which is a 3 foot tank. There's no dry cabinet, and to me that's an issue. Whereas the 450's got a dry cabinet, so having that dry area where you can put all your electrics, there's no way I could run a tank with all the electrics above the sump. And I know people do. I am so clumsy, stuff falls into the sump. So I keep anything away that's electrical, the plug sockets in from the sump. I don't have anything in the sump on either tank that's got the electrics. I couldn't trust myself. Some people have. You see some of them, it's just a complete engineering dream, the way they've put it, and they've got all the plugs in there and everything else. I couldn't do that. So I think make a conscious decision about, do you want a dry cabinet where you can just store everything in there, nice and tidy, and you haven't got any water in there. And then that's the difference really between, I don't think there's a 3 foot tank that does have a dry cabinet. There might be some, but I mean, as you go custom, of course.
Yeah. And then you wait in 6 months like Julie.
Yeah, you could, I mean, of course, in a 3 foot, if you've got a dry cabinet, then your sump is not as big. So there's a compromise there, isn't there?
There's nothing worse than waiting for a tank. I feel sorry for her. Like the excitement you get when you order a tank, you just want it to be there.
And the thing is, as well, when that tank comes, there's going to be another 6 months before you get it all up and running to where you want it to be as well. So
If you use Dr. Tim's like I did, yeah. 8 weeks cycle.
There's a good quote there for a comment from Bravo 20 about Red Sea are maybe just more wary after their exploding tanks, probably more so than maybe other manufacturers, because they've sold so many tanks. On the law of averages, they may get just more issues than others.
Yeah, that's true actually.
That's what I heard. Neil's put 250s and under, no tangs. See, that I'd want a tang.
So I personally, I wouldn't put a tang in anything smaller than a 5-foot tank. That's my personal opinion. I've got a yellow tang. I had a vampire and a regal tang, and they got too big. They grew from a 50p piece, I said that before, up to 6-7 inches. It was just far too small. Yellow tangs are fairly small, probably the smallest tangs there are. There might be 2 or 3 others the same. So I personally wouldn't do that. But you see people put some of the bigger tangs in a 4-foot tank. That's up to them. So you got to just do what you're comfortable with, Jay, on that. But also I was going to say, if you get a tang, then they're really messy. So the bioload with a tang goes up. So therefore, you've got to manage a higher bioload. So you're in a smaller tank with a tang. They take a lot of food, so therefore your bioload goes up, and then you've got to manage your nitrates and phosphates in a smaller tank. So you've got a balance there as well.
There's certain things you should have in a reef tank, in my opinion. That's a tang's one of them. I think it's just it fits well with a reef tank. It looks well, doesn't it? It's same as like clowns. A pair of clowns is pretty much a must.
Yeah, but there's a few comments in there about ones that are smaller than yellow tangs. Tamini, bristle-tooth tangs. I've seen them, but I haven't had them before, so I can't really comment on that. But so you can get some smaller ones that are not going to grow. I mean, if you look at a regal tang in a shop and it's 50p piece, is the size of what you see them, and you think, that'd be great in my tank. And in 18 months, they're like 5-6 inches, and they get bigger than that. They can grow to a foot plus in like a 3-4 year period. That's just going to crucify your tank. And also, what they do when they're bigger, they just knock your corals all over the place. You've got SPS; they were forever breaking pieces off of the tank. You just get fed up with it.
Yeah. There was actually a really nice tang that I seen in Nexus there last week, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, and I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it. But it wasn't that expensive. It was about 40 quid, and it was really, really nice.
For a tang, wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I don't know if Mark or Colin's still in the chat. If Mark or Colin's in the chat, I think Mark, Practical Reefer, I think he's still here. Mark, can you remember what the name of that tang was that we had last weekend? It was really nice. I think it was 45 quid for it. I cannot remember the name of it, but it was one of those ones that was quite kind of shocking when you seen how cheap it actually was for a tang.
My favourite tang is an Achilles. They are absolutely gorgeous. You don't seem to see many of them around. They were really expensive 3 years ago. They would be about 300 plus, I think, if I remember correctly. God knows what they are now, but you don't see many of them around either in people's tanks or in a shop.
It was a Scopus tang.
They're nice, yeah. That's a good price, nice. 40 quid.
Yeah, really good actually. And I mean, they were actually really nice, to be fair. It was one of those where I thought, I quite like that for a bigger tank. When I upgrade, I'll definitely get one of them. But they were really good, to be fair.
They are lovely fish.
Jay's just Googling it just now to see what it is.
I am, I'm Googling it, Like the dragon. Oh, yeah, that is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, they were actually really nice, to be fair. Oh, Neil Smith said black tank Maidenhead Aquatics at the moment for £900.
Black tank.
I think they've been about that price for quite a while.
Oh, have they?
Is that the dearest?
They're one of the more. I think people got more experience. When I've seen them in the shops in the last few years, they have been maybe 700 to 900, but they haven't gone up to the same kind of price as the yellow tank.
It's just like a shadow in your tank, isn't it?
They're lovely though, from what I've seen in the shop.
I think if you've got
a
really bright, colourful tank, then it would stand out against it, to be honest, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And then Jamie Q's put about a gem tang. They're really lovely when you see pictures of those. They look fantastic.
Oh, yeah, they are nice, actually. There's so many different options now, though, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, there's loads of ones out there. Have you seen a unicorn tank? I mean, they're huge, but they're white, and obviously got the shape of the head of a unicorn, but they're fantastic.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, Google it. The guy I know who's over in West London, he's got a 12-foot tank. He bought my vampire tank from me. I think it's like 2,000 litres, 12 foot by 3 foot. And I think he's still got it.
You're going to watch me Google it.
A unicorn tank. He's got a thread on Ultimate Reef.
I'll tell you what I did see last weekend that was actually really impressive. And again, I might have got this wrong, but I think it was called a stargazer that he had for sale. And it was basically it buried its body in the sand and just had its head sticking out, so you could just see its head and no more. And I think it was like a predator, basically, when something swam past it, would swim out and nail it. But it was that was pure white as well, so it kind of blended in with the sand really, really well.
Yeah.
I think it's called a stargazer, but it was quite
sure
impressive.
I've seen a fish like that on Blue Planet. You know David Attenborough.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant, that program.
It's good. I'll tell you what's brilliant.
Yeah.
You know the fish locker, that fish locker guy.
Yeah.
That he told us to watch on YouTube. He's brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, so on that one, remember how we were talking about that and that you were saying about the torch corals that was in his video?
Yeah.
Remember I sent you them?
Yeah.
They're actually anemones.
Oh, are they?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I done a bit of Googling on it at the time, and it's went out of my head again. I can't remember the name of it. But it's a type of UK cold water anemone, and it looks identical to a torch, like we would see a torch being. But they're actually anemones. And there is a couple of people who had kept them in like a cold water tank as such, and that you can only really keep them on their own because they'll kill everything else. But it was quite cool, to be honest with you. But they're not torches, so don't get your snorkel gear out and go down Cornwall, Jay. It's a bit of a waste of time, mate.
It did look like a torch, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It really looked like a torch.
On anemones, right? Someone asked me a question. They said, would you still put an anemone in your tank? Like, obviously I've had mine in for like 6 months, and they asked me if I would do it again. If I was starting out, would I put an anemone in the tank? And I was like, that's a good question, because obviously the worry of it and what it's going to do to your corals and da-da-da. But you know what? I actually would.
Would you?
If I didn't have one, I'd put one in. I know you wouldn't now with yours, because you picked the super dangerous one that like.
I had the tube anemone, which was a total hard move, but
you was warned on that as well, though, Ross, weren't you?
Yeah.
I was told not to get it, and I still decided to go for it. So yeah, it's my fault.
But I like them because it just adds a bit of an edge and a bit of interest. But the coloration from an anemone is as good as any coral that you're going to get.
Yeah, I was saying to Julie earlier on that if Jay's one split, that'll be it. He'll be going through the roof, or we'd be having Cobra meetings and all kinds of NEM. Because the thing is, you haven't mentioned the NEM for weeks.
I know,
so I'm assuming it hasn't moved.
So well behaved, honestly. It's stayed in one place. I mean, it's got its bubbles out now. It's a really, really pretty. Well, it's kind of a jellyfish, isn't it, basically? You know what? I wouldn't be without it. It adds so much interest to the reef. But it hasn't split. It is quite large. How large do they have to get until it splits? Because mine is, it's bigger than a cup. It's bigger than your standard.
I think if it's about that size, mate, it's probably just ready to split about the next week, I would say.
Well, if I catch it straight away, then I can just take it down to the fish shop and get some credit.
Instantly stick to the rock, mate. That'll be it, gone.
Well, the problem is if they split and then they go in opposite directions, then that'll be it. That'll finish you off, Jay.
Well, I might have to have a conversation with a video call, just to know what to do with it. A crisis meeting. You'd
be building a wall around it and everything, wouldn't you?
But I wouldn't be without it. It's like one of those, I've fallen in love with it, to be fair, a little bit. It's really good. And they're only cheap. It's only about £35, I think. You can feed it, but the coloration is amazing. It really is.
That says it all, doesn't it?
How do you know when it's about? What are the signs for it when it's about to split? Because it's only got one mouth at the moment. Because I've checked. It needs another mouth first, doesn't it?
Don't know.
I don't know if there are any signs. I've heard that they do split because they get stressed, but I don't know if that's true or
mine's really
or not.
happy. It's not moved for 6 months, so it splits. It's just...
I'll tell you what I really would like though is a rock flower nem. That's something that I'd like to put
they
in the
look
tank.
nice.
They are
really
nice. Yeah, you get some really decent, really different and lovely colours as well.
Oh, the colours on them are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Get a pole up, Ross. Get your pole up. Put your pole up. And
What do you want a pole from it?
Would you have an anemone in your reef tank? Didn't Nano Tank Reefer? He's got some flower anemones in his tank, hasn't he? At the front, at the bottom.
Is that in the small tank with the mushroom?
No, it is 250. I'm sure he's
got
got
the 250. He's got rock flower nems in that, definitely.
Yeah, and at the front, they look amazing.
There are some. I mean, I can't remember whose video it was, but I watched a video online, and they had basically just a rock flower nem tank, and the different colours that was in that was better than anything I've ever seen. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen someone who's got that. It's had black sand, and then they've got rock flowers, and the whole tank is that, and just the way the colours pop with the backdrop of the black sand.
Yeah,
it was almost like a small coral tray, and they just had that in there. And I don't know if they was actually cultivating them or not. I'm not too sure, but they were lovely.
I think it's the rock flower ones and the bubble tips. I think those are the two to go for, but I wouldn't be without mine. I think it's ace. Really cool little creatures.
Yeah. So there's Jamie said that rock flower nems have a much more benign sting than bubble tips as well.
Oh, I might have to get see.
And I don't think they wander as much.
No, I don't think. I think they'll stay kind of where they are when you put them in.
Yeah, I think they do wander, but not as much. Because I remember Neil's aquarium. He's got a rock nem.
Oh yeah, he did.
And I'm sure it moved around, didn't it? It was on the base and it went somewhere else.
He's had it up 3 times tonight. He's loving this new feature.
Oh dear.
Ross's massive pole.
And then there's maybe Reef Dudes that had the rock flower dominant Max Nano. I think it might have been Reef Dudes actually.
Oh, okay.
Rock flower dominant Max Nano.
I'll have a look.
But it was really impressive to be fair. It was nice.
Votes are in, I'm going to vote yes.
So the question on that, Ross, is does Nessie have any rock nems?
No, he doesn't, but I'm going to ask him to get some.
You're going to say, can you order 10? And then Jay will want one, and you say, I'm really sorry, Jay. They all went. They flew out. they flew out the door for 25 quid.
Exactly.
I'll get him to order in 10. I'll pick the best 9, and then I'll say, Jay, look, he got one for you, mate. This is the one that he got for you.
they do Jay want one if it's a Pikachu rock nem.
I'm going to stop saying what I'm after because everybody just winds me up.
Although he did have some yellow, there was 2 yellow SPS in there. I don't know what they were because obviously I don't really look much at them. But they were.
Let me guess. They were 20 quid as well. It's like a car boot.
15.99, mate.
15.99.
I don't know what they were. I have no idea. But
there was a comment right towards the beginning of the stream. I can't remember what he put around there. There's only a few yellow SPS. I think Wolverine, and it was. Obviously, the Pikachu.
Dragon Acro, that's yellow. That was stunning.
Yeah. Yeah, but rock nem.
So
yeah, Jay, whatever you say, that drives demand, and people go out and buy those fish and those corals. So
not because they want it; they just don't want me to get one.
Well, you're a trendsetter, but you don't have the trend.
I've got no trend. I'm after loads of stuff, and everybody keeps buying it up.
Well, if anybody wants to buy a Jay's Real Reef scooter Blenny, I might have. I mean, I don't have one, but if I did have one,
there you go, Wolverine. Yeah, Buzz of Acro. Never heard of that.
I like this anemone. What's the anemone pole like now? See,
the anemone pole is at
62.38%.
Yeah, 62 yes, 38 no.
That's I like a pole that
it's good, isn't it?
Kind of splits opinion a little bit there.
I like this new poll function. It's quite good, to be fair.
I must admit, I haven't seen anyone use it before when I've been in live streams.
No, and it was just by luck I hit the button and went, oh, what does that do? And it worked.
So do you do that via StreamYard, or do you have to go onto your YouTube app and do that?
No, you do it on the YouTube page, not StreamYard.
Okay, so you have to have both up, right? Okay, at the same time, and do it that way.
You possibly can do it on StreamYard, but I don't know how.
Are you hosting on 2 devices?
2 tabs,
new
mate.
level
A
of
StreamYard
hosting.
tab and a YouTube
This
tab.
is why I've never hosted.
Oh, we know.
We hadn't noticed.
Won't be able to do one, never mind two platforms.
I think we should just force you to do it 1 week, mate.
Yeah, having to host and do a nitrate test. That'll be it, wouldn't it, Joe?
No one would
Can you imagine it would just be the first comment would stay on the screen for the whole stream?
The first comment, which would be like, "Hello, how are you?" And then that'd be it.
You'd have a countdown from 120 minutes. It'd be the whole stream.
I'm not doing another nitrate test again.
Test.
I can't even get my words.
Here's Black Pearl Reefs asked for another poll, Jay. I think this one might suit you.
Do you think you've forgotten? That is true. There's only a few more things that I want. Another fish. A couple more corals.
Leptoceras are cool on the back wall.
See, I've got Leptoceras.
What is it, Jay?
A gold one. It's an LPS encrusting coral.
Okay.
I didn't know it grows on the back wall.
Is that the Jack-o'-lantern one?
Yeah, that's a Leptoceras. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know you could grow them on the back wall. That's a pretty cool idea. They're quite slow growers, though.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
There's definitely some good comments.
I don't want to host. No chance. There's too much going on here. And then you miss someone's comment and you feel really guilty. You feel like
and then some people say occasionally you haven't answered my comment. I don't want that. It's a pure oversight because I've done that before. Unfortunately, someone has been quite tenacious and told me until I've actually seen it.
The problem is though that we're usually in the middle of a conversation and something will pop up that's a really good comment, but it's about a completely different topic. And you don't want to just completely end that one and bring this one in. So you do miss comments, and I can only apologise for that if I do miss.
You go on, and then 20 minutes later, when we're talking about an ironing board, you kind of forget it because you move on to another topic.
Yeah. Although this topic's quite a steady one, the hub digs and day topic, that's pretty much constant.
This is a steady night. This one is still a steady one, I think.
CJ, I think if you hosted the digs with you would just stop.
Probably, maybe. You just trying to get me in. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I enjoy my Fridays just sat here, engaging with the chat, chatting with you people without any stress. I don't want to be losing my hair. I don't want to be losing my hair doing this.
No, there's nothing worse, mate. There's definitely
6 months ago, his beard was on his head.
I had an afro. I should let it grow, but it looks terrible when I let it grow, so I just keep shaving it.
Planet. Yeah, that red planet that Nano Tank Reef has got, that was really nice on his last video.
They are nice. I've got a frag of red planet. Strawberry shortcake I can't keep, but then I'm not conscientious enough about my parameters because you look at a strawberry shortcake and it can strip. And torts, I think, are really slow growers, if I remember. I don't think I've had a tort at all.
He knows his corals, doesn't he? Black
yeah, some real, I mean, 3 good choices
I've
of
never even heard of half of these.
acros.
I've heard of Red Planet, but I haven't heard the other ones.
Yeah, I'd say it's Red Planet. I don't think they're that hard to look after, from what I've seen and had one for a couple of years, and they're really nice.
Does anybody know how to get tenuous to colour up? Because I've got no idea.
Take it out your tank.
Give it to someone else.
I'm using a pack of Crayola on it.
I don't mean take it out and just leave it on the side, but
you mean put it in a decent tank where it likes being? Is that what you're saying? Or take it out and colour it in with some beryl crayons.
Mind you have got some SPS that are doing all right though, haven't you, Joe?
Yeah, I've got 4. It's that the tenuous one hasn't done anything.
Yeah. To be fair, you've gone into the deep end, haven't you? Most will start off with like a Setosa or a Monty, or a Monty, yeah, and things like those. But you've gone straight in, haven't you?
Well, it's just testing the parameters of the water in the tank, really, seeing what it can cope with. Why have you done that now? Why have you done that?
There's a new poll up, just in case anybody hasn't seen it. Just go and have a wee look at that poll.
I haven't seen it now.
Oh, should probably have a look at that poll then.
So 92% have said yes, Jay. You should host the live stream.
No way. I'm not doing it. I don't even know how to do it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, you'd keep you right, mate. You'd be fine.
No, I'm not doing it. I will miss that week. I
think for the pure comedy value of it, it'd be worth doing.
No. I'll do the highlights one and just play a video at the end of the
year. What was I going
no, we're not doing that. That was all the polls have been good tonight. Now you just ruined it with that one. The sign of a good poll is that it's close. So what's the results? Because I'm going to click now.
It's the people's choice, mate. This is the people's stream. That's 96 to 4%. And I'm guessing the 4% was you, Jay.
Well, I put no, yeah. See, it's a poor poll. You started well with like close polls, and now it's just gone ridiculous. It's not even interesting, is it, that one?
So Ross, you've just been told off by a teacher, then I think.
Ross, you're in detention. I'm going to get you to do some.
I must not put up stupid polls about Joe.
Something tells me you've never had a detention.
Got my pencil, mate, ready to go.
With his lines.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I'm an angel, mate. Never got in trouble with me.
Good. Anyway, just as a bit of a sidetrack, my cyano's still here.
Oh. So what are you doing about it, mate?
You've had success with your green air algae. And my cyano's not got any better at all. No better. Like I can't say it's got worse, but it's certainly not improved. And I was giving it like 3 to 4 weeks, but I keep someone messages me every day saying to use Cyano RX. Just go with that, which obviously is a good product. I think lots of people have used it, but I'm just holding out and hoping that it might change. But somebody also told me, I don't know if it's Michael Butler, it might be. Oh no, it wasn't. It was someone called Jeff on Instagram. Said that it's to do with, I think you've said this, Paul, to do with pollen. Well, I live opposite a fields, farmers' fields. Yeah. And the window is always open. Not that anybody's coming to burgle or anything, but my window is always open on my house. So I don't know. Maybe the pollen is a thing. I don't know. But it seems
I think it is from the people, because I've had cyano every year. Certainly the last 3 or 4 years I remember. I just haven't had it as bad as I had this year. But then my maintenance has been pretty crap this year compared to previous years. So I've still got the cyano. It's improved a little bit, but not noticeable. And I'm dosing the Zeovit products, and I'm going to give it 6 or 7 weeks and go from there. But hopefully, by the time 6 or 7 weeks have gone, your pollen should be going down. But it depends on what happens, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
Heat wise and everything else. But it's not at a level that I'm worried about. It just looks a bit ugly.
And I just want to try something different. I haven't cleaned it this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, because last week it was on the back, wasn't it? But it wasn't on the rocks because you'd cleaned it.
Yeah, I got rid of it last week, so I was embarrassed. But I've left it this week because you all told me off.
Jay, what's going on with the sand? Have you got like a big pile of it on the left-hand side of your tank there?
Have you noticed?
Yeah. I wondered if you'd started quarrying something.
So one of the ways to get rid of cyano apparently is to reduce dead spots.
Yeah.
So I've just increased the flow a bit, and I've created a big sand dune in the corner.
You got no sand in the middle. I got a little bit of sand in the middle.
There's still a thin sprinkle in here. There's a dusting, but then over the other side it's huge. But I haven't cleaned it today, so I don't know if I dare put it on white. So should I put it on whites or should I put the filter on?
Put it on whites, mate. Shows it in its full glory.
Ross.
Go on. Get the whites on. I done it in my video, mate. My tank looks terrible.
It'll upset the corals. It's going out of cycle. Wait up.
Excuses.
Right, let's put the... God, I can't believe I'm doing this. I need some help, but I don't want to use that Cyano RX, really. Woody, thanks for your comment.
So why don't you want to use it then, Jay?
Oh, I just don't like putting stuff in that's not like supposed to. It's not in the sea, is it? It's not naturally in seawater. So
yeah, but the amino acid, the stuff, the reef elements, that's not in the sea, is it?
Ah, touche.
Oh, you've got it there.
Yeah, but Ross dived straight in, didn't he? Whereas I'm waiting here, but.
Yeah, but as Paul said, though, Jay, you're dosing stuff in the tank and so on. So.
Right. So there you go.
That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It don't look too bad, Jay.
Yeah, but this is. The lights are going down. Look, it's all red here all red on the top.
And the back panel is clear. Last week that was really bad. Or have you cleaned that recently? That was thick of cyano last week when we had a look at that.
Yeah, and the power head at the back's got. See, that's what I don't understand. So it says that it doesn't like dead spots, but I've got it growing on a power head. How's that happening?
It's a dead spot because it comes out the front.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, but maybe.
I think.
Yeah, possibly. So I've got it on the sand. I've got it on the rocks.
I was expecting it to look a lot worse than that, Jay, to be fair.
Yeah, I was too.
That doesn't look too bad.
It's pretty bad. This is pretty bad to me. But
okay. Yeah, but you want everything to be crystal clear, don't you?
Yeah, well, have you seen Nano Tank Reefer's latest update? I want it to be like that, just a nice, clean tank.
Yeah, I think his tank's been running a good bit longer though, mate. Just be patient, you'll get there.
Yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't look as bad as what I thought it was going to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, it does. That's the thing. That's the thing with this hobby, isn't it? Really. Yeah, because you always look at your own tank and you're kind of a bit more negative, and then you see someone else's tank. You are hypercritical of your own tanks, aren't you? I think. Well.
Yeah, you'll spot fit imperfections that you hate, and other people just wouldn't notice.
Yeah, but I don't want the. I've had the red for about 4 or 5 weeks. I just want it to be clean again.
Yeah.
I don't really want to use this.
I would use it, mate. Chuck it in.
I would.
I know you would. You're trigger happy with your blooming. Tank.
But Jay, the stuff that you put in your tank, it's not all natural products, is it? There is stuff that you put in that's a mixture of chemicals. Are you being selective with you saying this one over here is a bad chemical and your amino acids and all the stuff they build up on there, that's a good chemical?
Well,
just saying.
Well,
I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know, Jay.
I
think if it's in seawater and it's naturally in the sea, then it should be in there. But I just don't. I'm just a bit hesitant. I don't know.
I can understand why you're hesitant, because you don't want to go down that route, and it's not saying that you've set up the tank and you only want to use X amount of products.
I'm a beginner, so I've never, like, some people on here have been doing it like 10 years. I've probably used this loads of times and think, why is he making such a fuss out of it? Just put it in. Well,
there's a good comment for you, Jay.
Fish.
What he's saying is correct, isn't it?
Yeah, he's spot on with that. He's absolutely spot on. But but then there's a bit of scaremongering, not so much probably around yours, Ross. But this one, it says like you've got to do a 50% water change straight after, like within 24 hours. It deoxygenates your water.
Yeah.
There is some, like, what is it? Issues with it.
But you can get around. If you look at it, you can't eradicate the risk of using it, but you could use things like an air stone or an air pump, which then puts more bubbles in there, and that would help the oxygen. You can turn up your power head or point it towards the surface. So both of those will help oxygenate the tank. So that definitely would help. And actually, when you see people have these problems, quite often because they're not following the instructions, they'll put too much in, and they won't do a water change. And the instructions are there. You see it with chemically and other things like that, where people using just don't follow the instructions and they have a problem. They go on, they say, oh, this product's crap, blah, blah, blah. They haven't necessarily told everything of what they've done. And people say, well, did you follow the instructions? Well, kind of. You see that with ATM Colony as well, where on Facebook, people say, well, I've used Colony, it hasn't worked, I've got a problem. And there's actually on one site where there's someone from the company says, right, what have you done? and this is what they've done, and they haven't followed the instructions, and they wonder why they've got a problem with colony. The product's really good. I don't know about this product, I haven't used it, but you usually find with those, if loads of people have used it and had a good success, it's because they've followed the instructions and it's a good product. But that's just my view on it. You got to do what you're comfortable with.
I am getting tempted to use it now. I'm running out of patience.
Well, I mean, there's quite a lot of comments here saying that there's one for Jamie. Amino acids are found in seawater, higher concentrations in deep water as well. And then Rudras said, is dosing amino acids the same as dosing trace elements? So
I don't know whether it's natural or not. I don't know. It could be, but I don't know how they build it. The components, are they all natural? It could be.
I'm not sure, mate.
Don't know.
On it. Yeah, I've tried to suck it out. Reef King. He's told me to suck it out, and I've been trying to suck it out from time to time, but it just keeps coming back.
Jay, I had visions of you having a straw in the tank. Which is completely daft, but that's the vision I've got. You got your swimming goggles on. You go, right. I'm snorkeling.
It's very resilient little bacteria, I tell you.
Yeah.
There was a few comments actually earlier on from people saying that they had got cyano after using Vibrant, which I found quite strange.
I've used Vibrant.
Well, I use Vibrant and I don't really have any cyano. I've got a couple of little bits in areas where there's low flow, but that's not due to, I don't think that's due to the Vibrant, but I don't know.
So could Vibrant create an imbalance between nitrates and phosphates? Because I've read in a few different places that an imbalance between the two can trigger cyano. So if Vibrant was to have an impact on those two and create that imbalance, then it could trigger it. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know, but there's quite a few folk had said, that Vibrant had been used just before.
Why would it be a summer thing then? Because everybody's getting it in the summer.
No idea. The whole pollen thing makes sense, to be honest.
I think the pollen thing, because of the sugars or something in the pollen, to feed the bacteria. That's what I've read.
So in which case then, what point in the year does pollen then start to go low? Is it, I don't know enough about, is it August? Is it September? Is it related to
it can last quite a while, because I get really bad hay fever, and that can go on until October, November time usually.
But it must be something that it spikes, or there's something in the atmosphere. It might not be pollen, it might be something else, or a combination of things. And at some point then it drops off, and then it doesn't impact the tank as much.
I find it tends to be kind of hotter weather, lower wind, when there's been dry spells. That's when my hay fever flares up anyway. So that's got to be linked to
you need to get a pollen filter on it, like there's one on my car. I could do one on here.
I can just see you having your window open with a big pollen filter taped around the window, so you can get that now.
Yeah, that's it. Good idea. I might try that next year and see if I get cyano. But yeah.
Surely somebody could create an aquarium pollen remover. You get removers for everything else.
Yeah. Pretty much. So yeah, that's where we're up to with the cyano.
There's a good comment on there from I think it's the last comment that I can see on screen from Roger around sudden fluctuations in phosphate.
Yeah, sudden fluctuation of phosphate nitrates and the Vibrant causes cyano triggers during instability levels of phosphates.
Could be that.
Yeah.
That does sound. I think that does fit my description.
Jay, you're going to need to get some WD-40 on that door.
I know, it's my wife's sneeze.
It's no the wife's sneeze.
No. What it is, right? She did a live stream and I interrupted it by mistake, so now she's interrupting mine. Go away.
Jay,
you're not seeing Ross. Off you go.
Jay, just tell her to come in and sit down and see if she can take your place.
You can see him at Cracknell if you go.
Nice, I'm definitely going now.
I am going.
Oh, are you? All right.
Yes, I'll see you there.
Fortunately, it's only one ticket.
I will see you there, Ross.
Brilliant. I'm looking forward to
it. Jay, should me and you leave?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think that's... I'm done. That's enough.
That's Jay. Spat the dummy now. He's away.
Yeah. So hopefully I can pick up some nice corals from Cracknell then.
Yeah, I'm still not exactly sure how it'll work.
Is it Real Reefers that sell, or is it just a shop?
It's both, isn't it? You can take along corals and swap them with other people. You can do it in advance. I'm not too sure. I don't think he has a Facebook page or something where people can say what ones they got to swap, and you can go from there. I think that's what happened last time.
Yeah, that'd be good if you knew what was available.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
I take it that does he set up stalls like outside and so on as well if it's a decent day, or is it just all inside the shop? Because I don't know how much space there is there.
I don't know. I've never been there. I haven't been to one of the previous ones, so I don't know how it's all set up. Maybe we should ask Dom.
Oh God, just gets worse. My evening's getting worse.
There you go. You can take
Where's
flags.
Steve? I can normally distract it from talking about something with Steve. Do with him here now.
No, there's no wingman tonight, mate. You're on your own. Full attention's on you.
I need my wingman, bless him. Can you take frags or swap or sell? Yeah, I think. That's interesting.
So yeah, we are actually having one at Ness's there on the 5th of September as well. I think that's through Ultimate Reef more than anything. They seem to have organised a kind of meet up there. So
because there is a section, isn't there, for Scottish reef keepers on there? I've seen
it's actually quite an active section, to be honest. It's quite good. So yeah, I've been quite impressed with that. Like I say, I only joined it recently, but it is quite an active.
I'm interested to see how it works. You know, if you've got, I mean, it can't be just one coral for another coral, can it? Really? Because some corals are like super expensive, and then other ones aren't.
I suppose it depends on whether you're prepared to do that. Because I've swapped before at Reef Freaks, Coral Freaks. I mean, I swapped an avatar for a different coral, and I think the one that I swapped was worth more than the one that I was getting, but it didn't matter because I wanted that other coral, so no big deal for me. It was something that I wanted, and it was a frag. A piece that didn't really cost me anything, so I was okay with that. So I suppose as long as you're happy with it, it doesn't really matter if there's a difference in the price.
I suppose,
yeah.
I think it's just what you're willing to swap. I mean, there's people that actually just give free frags away as such. You know, they'll gift frags to people, and it seems to be quite a welcoming community in that sense, I think.
Yeah, you do get quite a few posts on Ultimate Reef where it's free to a good home, and people give like bits and bats away, but there's also people giving. So I gave a big piece of acro that I'd broken off that was about 7 inches by 3 inches. I just gave it away because I didn't have a home for it. I didn't want to frag it up, and unfortunately the person said I wanted it with someone I knew. So if I've got bits that are spare and I haven't got anywhere to put them, I'll put it on there to give away. I'll contact other people I know local and say, look, do you want this frag or not? And do it that way.
So you can put a wish list up and then see if someone brings you it.
I have seen people saying that I want XYZ. Can I have it for free? I must admit, I just ignore those.
Yeah, I have seen people though post up saying they're looking for such and such, and somebody will comment saying, I've got one, you can have it for a £5, or I've got one you can have, or
because they might frag it because they know that they can swap something with you, won't they?
Yeah.
There's a good comment from after that from Woody's Reef around what are people buying this weekend.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
I do like anything that's free. My favourite saying is, how much? From the auction. How much? Can't say that in Nestle. You can't say that in Nestle. It's dirt cheap. Everything's dirt cheap.
Well, you can say how much, but it's usually how much?
Yeah. Because it's like the B&M bargains of reefing, isn't it? Basically.
So I'm not having to spend up this weekend, but as you've seen a couple of posts, I bought another rainbow chalice this week. It was really unexpected, but it just came up as a really good offer, so I took it. So that's probably the first coral I bought for quite a while, actually.
It's a beautiful piece, isn't it?
And in rainbow chalice terms, it's actually quite big. It's got I think it's about 6 or 7 eyes on it, which I wasn't expecting for a rainbow. So let's see how it turns out and what colour it turns into. What are you doing now, Joe?
Hang on,
it's covered in insects.
We need to get this full screen here.
My ceiling, because it's a white ceiling, it's covered in insects.
You can't see a thing.
And then they'll all drop down in the night into there. I don't know. Is that free fish food? I think it might be.
Or is that causing the cyano?
Well, maybe. There's about, well, there's lots of insects.
It's not cyanobacteria, it's blood of all the dead insects that's in there. That's what that is.
Oh, for God's sake. I thought this hobby was going to be fun. It's challenging.
It is occasionally.
No, it's brilliant. Absolutely.
There's a valid point. It's the blue light.
Blue light. Yeah.
Bugs. Those bug zappers you get are always blue lights, aren't they?
Yeah, in the fish and chip shop. It's like a fish and chip shop in here, isn't it now?
Oh, well.
They're all over the... I need to get them out before. I don't know.
So yeah, there's a few people buying some stuff in the comments there. Got gold torches.
What are people buying? A gold torch, a 24 carat Aussie. I'd love one of them as well. Wow.
Nice choice.
They're quite difficult though, I heard, compared to the Indonesian torches.
Yeah, someone mentioned that the other week there, saying that they were harder to keep than Indonesian ones.
Yeah, they're more temperamental, yeah. Apparently so.
Mm.
What's everybody else? I'm not buying anything this weekend, I don't think.
Don't know what I'm buying. I'm going to go over to Nessie's lair, but I don't know.
Everybody keeps buying them up.
I might go over and pick up the next shipment of flame scooter blennies that's coming in this weekend.
Either that, or I'll ask Kraken to get me one in for when I go across.
Oh, good idea.
Well, you could do, couldn't you?
Yeah. Dom will be able to sort that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Where's that place you went in Stoke to get your rainbow?
So that's Cellar Marine. It's a really good shop.
Is that where you got? No, is that where you got the rainbow chalice from? That wasn't from there, was it?
No, that was Future Frags.
Yeah, because he's quite often saying I'm going to so and so and so and so. Any orders or anything like that? So I'm not saying Kraken, but obviously he's fairly close to you.
Yeah,
and if you want it fairly soon, if you just say if you see X or Y, can he get it for you? Or wait for Crackner?
Yeah, his corals are incredible. Like really high end special stuff. One-off pieces that you would if you're looking for something really nice for your tank, it's a good place to go. But he's only got three. Has he got two or three tanks? For coral beds. So he hasn't got a huge choice, but what he's got in there is really special. It's really nice, but not cheap. So if you go, certain bits are cheap, but it's more for your high-end special stuff.
Yeah, I suppose if you've got a small shop and you've got 2 or 3 bays, you've got to make it work. So it kind of makes sense to have higher end, because then you should make more money per coral than if you've got like a style of 4 or something. I'm not saying there isn't space for that, but it makes sense that limited space go for the higher end pieces. And certainly when you see the posts on Facebook of what he's got, I think I saw something the last 2 or 3 days. We got some fantastic scollies on there. Yeah.
It's somewhere to take your partner if it's like a special anniversary or a special birthday, and then get treated. There's some good stuff in there, really good.
Yeah.
It's for special occasions, a lot of it.
Yeah, I think Julie said she's getting her torches from
they'll be incredible. They'll be incredible, Julie. They'll be really nice.
Yeah. And is your local shop Cellar Marine then, Jay?
To be fair, they're both at similar distance. So Future Frags and Cellar Marine are both in Stoke-on-Trent. Cellar Marine's just got a huge, it's like a superstore. So it's big. It's really big. Fish, corals, dry goods, everything. There's so much choice in there. And
is that where you went to get the zoas when you got them gifted from? Was it Matt that gifted your little boy the zoas? Is that where you got them from?
Yeah, that's where I got them. That's good memory. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's where I got those from. But they're both on the reefing map. I don't know how many people use the reefing map or anything. I might need to review it again. But because they're both on there. So if anybody's in Stoke-on-Trent, 2 places to go.
So when are we doing a new revision of the reefing map, Jay?
Yeah, I might do one. You think I should?
I think wait for September time, when summer's over, people are back in the hobby a bit more.
Yeah.
Then people got a bit more time.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. We need some more people from London putting I think there's one shop which is AAC, which is near London, and that's the only shop. And then there's obviously a lot of people that live down in the southeast saying, well, what about the southeast reefing scene, and what about the shops down here? There weren't any nominations. Really.
So inside London itself, there's very few left. There were two that, so Charterhouse Aquatics used to be in East London, and that was a fantastic showroom there. It was absolutely superb under railway arches and that. It was excellent, but they moved outside of London. And then you had one down Great Portland Street, which is right off of Oxford Street. That was Aquatic Design Centre. They've been there for donkey's years, and that's where I bought. So that post where I put the Xenia on, which is my very first coral, I actually bought it from there. I remember I was at the West End. I bought 2 corals, and I had to come back on the central line. And I'm thinking, don't come near me. I got corals in my bag.
Oh my goodness!
And then you squash like this. And I had the Xenia, and I had Zoa. I can't remember the name of it as well. That was my first 2 corals, and I went there to buy those. But there's they're in Balham now. Yeah, they moved from Great Portland Street down there. That's a bit too far for me. So inside the M25, there's not that many. And then out in Essex, there was actually quite a lot, but there isn't many that I would actually recommend. And as Woody says, we've got AAC. So kind of once you've got AAC, you're spot for choice there.
I want to visit AAC. It sounds really good and it looks really good as well.
I think AAC is probably the biggest kind of player in England, or certainly south of England anyway, for that then, Paul, is it?
I don't know about the biggest, but certainly I would say the best quality. But that's just my opinion from what you get from there, both in terms of, I think, the quality of the stock. I don't buy my fish from anywhere other than there, because they look after them for me, and sometimes they can keep them for 3 or 4 weeks, and then I go and pick them up.
Yeah.
And the corals are excellent. And I mean, if I go in there, I get some really. If I've got a problem, Paul's and the guy's always there to help. I was in there last Friday. I was in there for 2 hours gassing about something or other. I train with corals. I tell you what, this is when I first started out, so you get very precious. I had a Gollum feeling when I had these corals in my.
The thing is with Xenia though, with Xenia you could go on the tube, the bus, ride a bike. It'd still be fine, wouldn't it? It's
absolutely. They're virtually indestructible. Other than if your nitrates or phosphates are too low, they hate it and they can wither and die. But I didn't know. That was my first corals. I didn't have a clue. Yeah. I didn't know that I paid money for Xenia when actually I get it for free. I didn't know that at the time. I'm not saying the guy ripped me off. He didn't. It was for sale, and I bought it, and I've still got it today. But you can snip off Xenia with a pair of scissors. It's fine. Give it to someone else, and they're some people call them indestructible, and they hate it because it spreads all over their tank. I think they're really good. Yeah, and also Woody's with H2O Aquatics. That's only about 20 minutes from me. That's a really good one for dry goods. That's excellent. I know those guys pretty well. So there is more than one. There's loads, but there's a few.
Carl's just put up asking for banning
from the chat. From the chat.
I don't know if I've missed something there, or is there a comment I've missed?
So Carl, should you be banned? I don't know.
No. I'm actually having counsel at the moment because he's got rid of his channel, and I actually really liked his channel, so I'm a bit gutted, to be honest. He was one of the people that got me into the hobby, so I know he's doing it on Instagram at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, had some great videos, didn't they? Some great content on there, Carl. And I know we kind of talked about it a little bit on Instagram, but it's a shame that it's all gone, isn't it? Because I think once you've deleted it, that's it. I don't know if you can bring it back, even if you wanted to.
Gutted.
I don't know.
I'm absolutely gutted.
He's saying you're messing with me. I actually genuinely can't see anything that he's put that I haven't seen.
I don't know. I missed loads of comments, so I just have to apologize.
Practical Reefer, there's a good comment there. Xenias, just especially when you turn off your power heads and you just get that pulsing effect.
You see them
a little bit. I personally think it's a really underrated coral, because you can't, if you're going to get a coral for free, people give those away for free. And so if you're happy with that, you isolate it on a rock so it doesn't spread all over. I don't think you can go wrong. I think it's a fantastic beginner coral. And also, if you are someone who's not really conscientious on maintenance, it will thrive in that tank along with your Zoas and other softies. So after 7 years, I've still got it, and I have no plans to get rid of it. When I talk to people and say you've got xenia, you know, why have you still got that? Blah blah blah. I just enjoy that coral, and I know Cole does as well. We've had a conversation about xenia, and he likes that. Yeah.
So I take it hasn't spread over your tanking, or have you got an isolated bit of rock, or is it just?
Yeah, I have. Also, sometimes they detach and they just reattach elsewhere. Just when you're looking over your tank and it's there, I just either I cut the piece off, or I cut it off. I just put a little bit of putty over the what's the rest of it if I can't pull it off entirely, and it just goes. So I must admit, I've never had a problem with it spreading all over the tank. And as I say, it's been it was in my first tank for a year, and it's been in this tank 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, my Reefer 450 was 6 years old yesterday. Just realising that, but there we go.
That's a birthday video, though.
I know you need to do the birthday video like Neil done with his, with the cake and the hat and everything on.
Oh yeah. Where is Neil? Where is Neil? He's not even in the chat tonight.
I know he's disappeared, isn't he? He hasn't done any videos. I've seen him like a few posts on Instagram, but I don't see him post on there either.
I did speak to him a while back, and he said that, you know, life was just busy just now, so I think he's put the kind of YouTube videos on hold and so on. But I think he will come back.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's a good guy.
Will anyway. Right.
So what other comments we got?
Well, does anybody want this AB Plus before we finish?
Oh yeah.
No, actually, I forgot about that.
You don't have to do a wheel or anything, but I don't know if anybody does want it.
So Jay, why don't you do something where they've got to guess and then the correct answer wins it? So do something like that you know the answer to.
What?
So a question.
Something in reefing that I know the answer to that no one else does.
No, like do a question of how many such and such, and only you know the answer to it.
I was going to say, how many corals have you got, but you don't know, do you? Do you know how many corals
how many zoa polyps have I got?
Oh, there's a good one.
I've got 8 frags, so that might give you a bit of help.
So how many zoa polyps does Jay have? Closest answer to the correct one will win the AB Plus.
But Jay, do you know the answer? Or are you going to make it up?
No, I've got to count it.
Somehow I knew he did not know the answer.
Why would you know the answer in your tank?
No, but I wouldn't say that was the question, though, would I?
I don't really know what. 1, 2, 3.
Watch his lights go out just now as he's counting them. That'll be a game over.
Don't talk to him too much. He'll get him confused and he'll have to start again.
What, like saying 17, 3, 28, 4? Oh man, this is going to be carnage. I don't even know how we're going to guess this.
Now, Jay, you've only got 3 minutes before Julie tells us and rings the bell that it's time. So you better hurry up.
I'm getting there. I've got that many.
Well, if you're still counting them, that should tell you that it's more than 3. Yeah, it's probably right, actually. Gal will probably win this.
Gal was asked, what's the competition?
21.
So the competition is guess how many polyps of zoas did Jay have in his tank, and the winner will get some AB Plus. Is it, Jay?
Yeah, because I'm not using it, so they can have a free bottle of 500 ml AB Plus.
And how much have you used, Jay? Is it used at all?
There's
that left in it.
There's 20 millilitres out of 500, but it's
brand
the
new,
full
look.
account.
Oh no, I'd say unopened, but I've just opened it to prove to you that it's not opened.
Ah, well, there we go then. It's a brand new, not any old bottle, it's a brand new bottle.
Yeah, I was going to...
Right, so since we've only got literally a minute left, is that going to close the answers now?
Right, you can close it down if you want.
Right, so from my comment, it's now closed. Anything after my comment doesn't count. So
the winner...
Jay,
so you get a comment straight away.
I know.
I've got,
you're a
believe
bit
it or not,
slow.
Right, Jay, what's the answer?
There's not much faith in this chat, but I have 92 flowers.
Oh, 92?
So,
wow.
or polyps, so that goes
64.
to Kim, isn't it?
Who?
Kim
Someone
Hayward,
says,
I think. Close
oh, yeah, 67 Graham's got.
Kim.
I think Kim's the winner.
I was only above that.
Yeah, 64 was the one I seen. So
68 Kim.
I think Kim Hayward might have won
On its way to you, Kim, in 2 months.
AB Plus.
No, I'm joking. I'll post it this week. No,
So you'll probably get that about January, I would say.
Yeah, you'll get it before it expires.
You're not in any rush, are you, Kim? I hope not. No, I'll send it next week.
So yeah, I don't like Black Pearl said. I don't know how no one guessed 92. That was obvious.
I think it's 92, but they're quite hard to count. So
I think it's 92. Jay, you should have just stopped and said it is not, because someone will say I want to recount, and we're out of time, so you can't have a free count.
well, it's definitely over 85. So.
And they're right on time. Mother Reef has told us time's up, reefers.
Time's up. Thanks, Julie.
That's it. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
No chance.
So a proper recount, mate. That's what it'll be.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that was a bit of an unexpected one tonight, but hopefully everything's okay at Steve's end and he's doing all well.
Yeah.
Didn't join in, so I'm assuming he's still held up there, but fingers crossed everything's all good. Thank you very much to everybody who's joined us. We will be back on my channel again next week, where I think we're going to do open mic night. So if anybody's interested in joining in, get in touch with me. We'll do it probably 10-15 minute slots or something. It depends how many people want to join in. I've got quite a bit else who wants to join in. Let me know if there's space. We'll let you join in, but we'll see how many people want to do it. So if you're interested in joining us for 10-15 minutes next week, then send me a message on Instagram and we'll sort that out. So yeah, don't forget to like the video, please, guys. That would be good. And thanks very much for joining us. Really do appreciate all the comments and so on.
Can you message me on Instagram? Can Kim message me her address on Instagram to so I can send it?
Good
I don't
idea.
know where she lives.
Yeah, otherwise you'll be putting it up for prize next week.
Yeah. I don't know where she lives, so I need her address. That's all.
So yeah, thanks very much, guys. Thanks, Paul
Thanks,
and Jay, for joining again, and we'll see you all next week.
Yeah, thanks for joining, everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a
Have
nice
a good
weekend.
weekend, folks. Bye-bye.